Gentlemen, here we are, another week, another opponent, another cocktail, more bullshit. Well, the world turns in a good way. I hate my fantasy team. It's not even that, actually. I hate me, I think is what it is. I just hate what I do with my fantasy team. I actually kind of like the team. So, I don't know how the rest of you are feeling, but hopefully it's as miserable. But this will cheer you up. A nice cocktail, right, folks? Thursday night, time to pour one out for yourself, not like in a sad way. Pete is my opponent this week, I believe. So I have no idea what to expect. I haven't really been paying attention to other teams. I've been obsessively pouring over all of my misery, so fuck you, Pete. I'm trying to be mean this year, so fuck you, Pete. But enjoy this cocktail, all right? This week I'm doing, so I couldn't remember if I had done this cocktail before or not, and so I went back and looked through all my old videos, and let me tell you, that's awful. Don't do that. Do not do that. That's a bad idea. But I hadn't done this cocktail yet, so I'm glad, because I get to do one called the Boulevardier, or Boulevardier. Probably pronounced Vardier, it's probably French. I think it comes from New Orleans. It's a very similar New Orleans drink to some of the other ones you get. It originally calls for Campari for an Amaro, but I prefer Cynar. I think I recommended when you buy an Amaro on the list, it'd be Cynar, or Averna Amaro is another really good one. If you have one from last year that you might have bought, you might have a Braulio or a Campari, or an Amaro Lucano. I'm a big fan of the Cynar, the artichoke one. So let's get started, all right? As always, I'll have the ingredients above my shoulder for a brief period of time, but we'll get going here. So the first thing to add, this is almost a equal parts cocktail, which I always love, but they spice up, they juice up just a little bit of the bourbon, which I'm not going to complain about, but it doesn't make it quite so fun or as easy as a nice equal parts cocktail. But it'll be 1 ounce sweet vermouth. I finally got a bottle of my preferred sweet vermouth from Earth di Torino, but anything you have will do. Any sweet vermouth, 1 ounce. Oh boy, yum. And then it'll be 1 ounce of your Amaro, be it Campari or Cynar or Averna, whatever you got. I can't believe that I suck so bad at fantasy football. You should see me in my NFL league too. It's also bad. Not good. I gotta get my head on. And then we're gonna do 1.5 ounce of bourbon. It also goes well with rye, if that's what the whiskey you ended up with. Let's see, I think I have a question, a single boring question. I shouldn't say it's boring. It's from Brian, of course, so it can't be too boring. It's 2 questions. The first one is if I think the U.S. monetary policy is doing enough to curb inflation. So I feel like I was asked that before in some video, so I don't know, has inflation been that big of an issue? I'm not going to go into my thoughts on all that because nobody wants to hear a socialist rant from a guy without a job. You know, if it was up to me, billionaires wouldn't exist, and everything would be free. But, so I'll leave it at that. Eat the rich. No one should make more than, nobody should ever make $1 billion. They shouldn't have that much money. Never. The next question, that's more appropriate to this, is what's going on with me leaving W's on the bench this year? When does it become a crisis? It's a crisis. It's a crisis. I need wins. What are the odds that I'm going to make the playoffs after losing 2 that I should have won? Like, this is not a team that can give away wins if I want to make the playoffs. So, yeah, crisis, big time. If I get my head on straight, maybe we'll be okay. But I don't know. I sure don't. Ugh, Christ. All right. Well, I poured in the ingredients. Now I need to go get some ice to mix it with. Uno momento. Oh, I don't know why I said uno momento. If I'm gonna cut it so that it doesn't take a minute or a second, it'll just happen that I'll be here with ice. So you'll give this a nice stir. I don't know if I've talked about like lengths of stirs, you know. It depends. Some people will only stir their drink for like 5 or 10 seconds, just get a little chill in there. They don't want to water it down any extract, especially if it's going to go on ice, where it'll slowly water down on its own as well. Some people, especially if it's a particularly bracing cocktail, they'll really stir it. I like stirring it. I like to get it nice and cold. I think most cocktails kind of account for that. The longer stirs and a little bit extra water, melted ice. So that tends to be what I go with. But it all depends on, you know, how you like your cocktail and which cocktail it is. All right. Got a nice big ice cube. You could also just do a bunch of ice if you don't have special ice cubes. You know, this, I get the, I have a couple molds to make these big, extra big cubes, which I like quite a bit. But our new fridge that we got when we moved into our new house has craft ice in addition to its normal ice maker, and it makes pretty decent sized balls of ice. But I don't know. I didn't even realize that when I bought the fridge that it was going to do that. So now I have like craft ice sitting there, but I still prefer the big cubes. So look at me, contrarian. That is a delicious cocktail. Especially with Cynar. If you're using something a little more bitter like Campari or Braulio, might be a little bit more balanced that way, I don't know. But I particularly enjoy this cocktail. If you've ever had a Negroni before, it's essentially a Negroni with bourbon, but that's okay. All right, folks, well, here's to another week. If I leave another win on the bench, I don't know what my next video will be. Might be rough. So let's hope for that not to happen. Cheers, gentlemen.